Hello! There are a lot of players in Squid Game, and some of them obviously get talked about more than others. But if someone asked me who my top 5 favorite players from Squid Game are, I would say Gi-hoon, Semi, Player 06 from Season 1, Player 203 from Season 2.
Are there any objections?
I do not object.
And Player 039 from Season 2.
Wait, isn't that the lunchbox guy? I hate him. If he would have just stayed still, Gi-hoon and 333 would have survived.
Okay, first of all, weren't you a guy just a second ago? And second, you don't know anything about him. You probably think that he was just being selfish.
Fuck you!
But no, 039's story is a lot sadder than you think, and I want to prove it in this video. And also, this is a Squid Game channel now, and it has always been. My name is D1 Squid. His first appearance isn't even really an appearance. During red light, green light, we can barely see his player portrait. Later we can see it slightly better, and it's pretty obvious that he in fact did not smile. We have no idea what his name is, he never said it, and in the credits his actor is just credited as Lunchbox Man, which is why from now on, I will just call him Big L. Thanks to his wiki page, we know that for the first 3 rounds, Big L voted X to stop the games, and after that he gets his first actual screen time all the way at the end of Season 2, where he sits at the front of the X's. This is also just before Lights Out and the Revolt. But after that, he started voting O for some reason. My best guess is that some of the O's told him to vote O, or else they would eliminate him next. Or he just got scared of keep voting X because of what the O's did to them during Lights Out. But anyways, he didn't just change his vote because he randomly felt like playing one more game. No, he either got scared or forced. But it's not that bad because after the Revolt the remaining X's were well outnumbered by the O's. Next, we see him in Season 3, where he actually gets quite a lot of screen time, even in these earlier episodes. First scene where we directly see him is him walking up the stairs to the 4th game, Hide and Seek, where he gets a red ball, meaning that he will be a seeker. And I know I just said ball, meaning that he will be a seeker. And I know I just said that he gets more screen time, but in this game there is just one scene with him, and it's for me one of the funniest Squid Game clips ever.
No!
And guess what? Against all odds our boy still makes it. The wiki suggests that he possibly eliminated player 344. After the Hide and Seek game we see him vote O a second time. He probably thinks to himself that even if he switches his vote now, the X's would still lose once again. I've also noticed that he now sits behind player 100 and some other O's, but I really don't think that he actually wants to keep playing. Just look at how scared he looks. After that, Big L gets exactly 0 seconds of screen time, and we have to wait until the jump rope game, where he waits for Gi-hoon to poke out 96's eye, until he crosses looking very exhausted. After almost dying, the 8 players return back at the sleeping room, just for one of the guards to tell them that the baby that one of the players that got eliminated gave birth to is now a player, and that gives us Big L's first dialogue. After almost 4 minutes and 2 seasons, our main character for this video finally gets to say something.
맞아요. 분명히 8명인데요.
He gives player 203 right. There are only 8 players left. The O's then all kinda crash out, even 039, and they start saying things like, more specifically player 039, and I quote says, "I can't let this happen, and it must be eliminated," and honestly, I remember watching this and being completely on the O's side. I swear all the baby did was scream and cry, while the rest of the finalists all almost died. The baby isn't even real. But of course, the guards don't allow them to eliminate it, because the baby isn't allowed to die. Anyways, after that they all eat their special finalist meal. The square guard then tells them all that, in the final game, they're allowed to choose which player will get eliminated, and that only a minimum of 3 people have to be eliminated to end the games for real this time. And I just loved 103's reaction to that hint.
쉽게 좀 설명해봐요. 뭔 말하는 거야 지금?
After that hint, The final voting begins, and they begin with the highest and end with the lowest number. Because of that, player 039 is the last one to vote. However, only 2 people voted to stop, while 5 players voted to continue because of their greed. Meaning that his vote wouldn't change anything, and player 100 even points that out and asks player 039 if he really wants to vote, and he just says that he would have voted O anyways. Which is the biggest lie I've ever heard. I don't know about you, but does he look like he's telling the truth here? After that, all the players that voted O and 039 tell themselves that they're a team now, and that they will only eliminate 3 people. Those 3 people are Min-soo, Ji-hun, and the baby.
Let's go.
But 039 is very hesitant and seems like he doesn't actually want to join them with their plan. But he also knows that if he doesn't agree, that they will also target him in the next round, and after getting pressured by 203 he agrees to the plan. This is where everything starts to go downhill for him. We all know that in the final game Squid Game he gets betrayed by his teammates, but we'll get to that in a minute. The next day, they all wake up and get ready for the final game. It's here they quickly realize that the guard wasn't lying. Only 3 people need to be eliminated. But since Ji-hun basically owns the baby, they can't eliminate him. They need at least 1 player outside of their team alive to be able to complete the final shape. Makes sense, right? In the first round, they target Min-soo because, honestly, he's a free kill. After that, they come up with a plan where they all tie their jackets together and bind that jacket rope around one of them to have a reliable way to pull that player back after he grabs the baby to separate him from 456. To find out which one of them has to do the baby part, they play Korean rock paper scissors where the scissors look like finger pistols for some reason. But yeah, player 336 loses and has to grab the baby, and player 039 seems just so happy to finally work in a team, he even tries to hype them up.
우리 팀 화이팅입니다.
Player 336 tries to trick 456 and then suddenly charges at Ji-hun, trying to rip the baby out of his arms. In the chaos, Ji-hun, helped by player 333, eliminates 336 that lets them move on once the countdown ends. 333 suddenly says that he's the baby's father and that he be teaming with Ji-hun now. Just like that, it's for versus 2, but the 2 have weapons. Under pressure from Ji-hun and 333, the O's turn on Big L and start beating him up until he's barely alive. When I watched this, I was so confused, but then player 100 casually explains their plan. Player 039 is now their lunchbox, and they are going to carry him to the last platform to throw him off and win. Game over. Ji-hun knows this isn't right. We see Big L get completely brutalized by the very people he thought were his teammates. They even break his leg, so he can't crawl away. Ji-hun tells them to draw lots instead of sacrificing 039, who's barely clinging to life. But instead of listening, player 203 attacks Ji-hun, while player 353 jumps 333. Of course, Ji-hun and 333 survive barely thanks to plot armor. They eliminate both 203 and 353 in self-defense. But then 333 walks up to player 100 and straight up pushes him off the platform, for no real reason. Seeing this, player 039 realizes there are only 4 players left. Broken and in pain, he crawls to the edge of the platform, thinking they'll just drag him over and finish him anyway, so he chooses to eliminate himself. But 333 tries to stop him, telling him they weren't thinking like that, and that they can still talk it out. And that's when Big L hits us with one of the hardest lines in the entire Squid Game.
이기는 니들끼리나 잘해봐. 난 빠져줄게.
Let's recap his story one last time. He voted X to stop the games for 3 votes. But after the rebellion and lights out, he got scared / forced to vote O, even though it wouldn't have made a difference anyways. He somehow managed to survive everything. But when the last voting started, his vote was useless, and he couldn't even vote at all even though he clearly wanted to get out of this place. Then the remaining O's pressure him once again, but this time to join their team, which he first hesitates, but then agrees. After realizing that he has a legitimate chance of winning with his team, he actually seems kinda happy. He was happy in his team. This was also the only time we actually see him being happy, until they betrayed him. Then he had to watch how these two strangers kill all the people that he thought were his friends while being in an absurd amount of pain. I mean, chances are, there is not a single player in all of Squid Game that got beaten up this badly. In his mind, there is no way any of the remaining players would sacrifice themselves for him, and not because they are greedy and really want that money. It's because he is the lunchbox, and honestly I would have done the same exact thing if I was in his place. In the end, I would take one lunchbox over 10 CGI babies at any day. Enough about that. I will go back to glazing Colette.